Did you know you can buy a piece of property right here in the Phoenix area, especially if you're a car enthusiast, with a ton of garage spaces and an RV garage, and it doesn't cost near as much as you would think? Stay tuned. We're going to cover all the places in the Phoenix area that have amazing garage spaces to house your beautiful cars right here on this video and more. Stay tuned. But first, if you just want to skip this video and just reach out to us to have a conversation about anything real estate related here in the Phoenix area, just reach out to us here on the information on the screen. Okay, so you landed on this video because you want to know more about the Phoenix area in general. You want to know more about maybe real estate, or maybe you're a car enthusiast. You're going to be in town for the world famous Barrett-Jackson Auto Auction right here in Scottsdale, Arizona this upcoming next week. And you are a little curious, just a little curious about, what if I owned a little piece of paradise right here in the Phoenix Scottsdale area and I could have my classic cars sit right there on my property? Well, you wouldn't be alone in thinking that. In fact, a lot of people from out of the Phoenix area own a second home, or they have relocated down to this area because they come here for the auto auction and all the beautiful weather for golf and all the outdoor activities that Scottsdale Phoenix has to offer in January specifically, and they go, whoa, I don't know if I want to leave this place. Or maybe I want to come visit a little more often, at least for half of the year when there's snow on the ground in most of the places in America and Canada. But just the information that you're going to want to know about, because we're going to take a deep dive into specific properties that are available, what they cost, where they're located, and how many garage spaces they have on the property. Because if you are a car enthusiast, that's important to you. But even if you're not, it's always great to have the extra car spaces that you could use for storage, or maybe a golf hitting bay, maybe an indoor batting cage, and the list goes on if you have that ability to have that shaded, covered, secure structure right on your own personal property. So as I mentioned, one thing about Scottsdale is there are no shortage of events. There is entertainment every which way you look throughout the entire city, for the most part, throughout most of the year, especially through the one season I call awesomeness. See, Scottsdale has two seasons. One is called hot, and that is June through September, and it is hot. We're in the Sonoran Desert after all, and the heat can be scorching for a period of time. But the other 8 months out of the year, pure awesomeness, and that's what season number 2 is in the Phoenix area, pure awesomeness. And while there are many events that Scottsdale is known for, from spring training to the Waste Management Phoenix Open to the arts show to the culinary festival, the list goes on. But one of those major events is the Barrett-Jackson Auto Auction that's right around the corner, happening next week right here in Scottsdale at Westworld. Westworld is the perfect venue for this event because it is outdoor and indoor alike. And most of it is indoor because you want to make sure these classic cars are protected, but the stars come out for this event. You have a star-studded crowd that always shows up. Even though some famous people come out to this auto auction, they are dwarfed by the numbers because Barrett-Jackson will bring in several 100,000 people through its doors over the course of a full week. And if you've never been to an auto auction, it is awesome. The energy is palpable. It is so fun to be there in the main auction area on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights when they have the best cars rolling through the line. And even though there are only a handful of bidders in comparison to the hundreds of thousands of people that come through there, it is pretty cool to be in that room, even though you may not have a paddle and looking to spend 50, 100, or a million plus for one of those classic cars. But when you buy that car, where are you going to put it? Are you going to take it back to wherever you live permanently? What if you had the ability to own a piece of real estate right here in the Scottsdale Phoenix area? That seems like it could be a pretty good option. But what would you buy? Where would you buy it? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're going to take a deep dive on the map right now as we jump right in. Okay, so now you see my screen and you can see a map here of the greater Phoenix area. We're going to dive in and take a look at properties and what they're worth, where they're at, and so on and so forth. But if you thought for 1 second that you couldn't afford potentially a property in the Phoenix area that has a lot of garage spaces and even an RV garage to maybe have a lift with some classic cars and that sort of thing, you might be mistaken, because there are some actually fairly affordable properties with that type of product, and they're becoming more and more common here as builders become more and more keen to what a lot of people want. Because even if you're not a car collector, you still like the storage space, the flex space, to be able to do certain things that may not have anything to do with cars, like the golf hitting bay we mentioned earlier in the video. Now, as you look at the map, you can see the greater Phoenix area. You can see that every single dot is actually a property based on the criteria over here that is either on the market or coming to the market soon. All these properties are single family homes, as you can see by my criteria, have at least 4 garage spaces and an RV garage as well, which means the ceilings are a lot higher and it's deeper as well. Now, those will vary in depth and height, but it has some sort of bigger garage type than just a normal bay. So what I want to do is show you some of these, and then actually want to go to different parts of the valley that are a little more popular for people that may want more garage spaces. So on the map here, I'm going to click right here on View Results. There are 222 properties that fit the profile of a single-family home with a 4-car garage bay and an RV garage as well. And you can see right now the cheapest one in Casa Grande, Arizona is actually $435,000 right here. You can see one on Avellino here in Maricopa County for $504, and another one in Florence for $525. Surprise for $525 and $534. Now, all these properties, as you can see right here, guys, in the $500,000 price point, they are all in HOAs for the most part. You can tell because the houses are a little bit smaller. Over here, the approximate square footage of the house is about 2,000, 2,300, 2,400, etc. Where are these located? Well, I'm glad you asked. We go back to the map. You can see as we zoom in a little bit, they're on the outskirts of the valley. So those properties around $500,000 with 4-car garage bays, as well as the RV garage. Now, to be clear, some of those 4-car garage bays could be included with the RV garage. For example, you could have an RV garage that is deep enough to hold 2 or 3 cars potentially, and another 2-car regular bay. So it just depends. You're just going to mix and match some of these a little bit here, okay? But we're giving you just a general overall sense so that you know exactly what you could get for something like this. Now over here, you can see this is Maricopa. Now, Casa Grande is down here, and you get the big picture by going all the way down here, and you see Tucson. Now, Tucson, from there to the south part of the valley in here, connected to the Phoenix area, Chandler, let's call it, is about an hour and 45-minute drive, plus or minus. Traffic, things of that nature. But Casa Grande is about a midway point down to Tucson, a little closer to Phoenix, but down to Tucson. There's some cheaper real estate down here, and that's why you can buy a nice piece of property for $500,000 with an RV garage and those 4 bays. Then you have Maricopa. The town of Maricopa is one of the fastest growing towns in America. That's right, it made a top 20 list for that currently across the country, and that is attached very closely, not quite attached, but close to the greater Phoenix area. You just go right up to 347 and you're into the Phoenix area. And then you have the Santan Valley area. You do have Florence, which is also quickly growing right here. So you have Florence, Casa Grande, and Maricopa. So you have this little smiley face of exterior suburbs that are just located just close, real close to the greater Phoenix area. So hopefully that makes it gives you a good idea of what that's looking like right here. Now back with our map centered, you can see that again, the Phoenix area is broken down into West Valley, East Valley. Now this I-17 is a main artery that goes right through here, okay? And so generally speaking, you have the West Valley over here, and you have the East Valley over here. Now, you've heard me speak on this in other videos, but that's generally speaking. Now, there is Central Avenue that actually runs right about here. Technically, Central Avenue, that is the boundary, but just because the I-17 is very prominent and you can see the vein running all the way down north to south, we just kind of keep it right there. So you can see the East Valley has a lot of population, but so does the West Valley. It's growing quickly. Now, in the East Valley, you have higher price point of properties. In the West Valley, you have a little bit lower price point of properties. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for more land with your property, or possibly you don't care as much about the land as long as you have the garage spaces, or maybe you want to be in the heart of all the entertainment and that sort of thing and the activities. Generally speaking, when it comes to the Phoenix area, well, you'd want to be on the East Valley. That's more of your concern. And of course, Scottsdale, Arizona is going to be at the center of all of that when it comes to the activities and the entertainment. Now you can see Scottsdale is very long and skinny. Scottsdale will be running along the lines right about through here, up to Carefree Highway and over and down through here and cut right between Fountain Hills. And then there's the Native American reservation and down through here. Okay, that gives you a good sense of Scottsdale. And then for the most part, I define the north part of really most things being just north of the 101. That's North Scottsdale. Central Scottsdale is going to be about the Via de Ventura, McCormick Ranch, South McCormick Ranch area, central, and then you have the South Scottsdale. Those are the three areas when it comes to population density, unofficially, in my humble opinion, for North, Central, and South Scottsdale. And most people like to be in this Central Scottsdale. Now, the Barrett-Jackson Auto Auction is right in this area, right about there. So if you want to be in Scottsdale, we're going to break down a couple of these properties right here. And then you have Paradise Valley, which is very affluent, right in here. We'll break that down for a second. And then we'll focus on Fountain Hills out here, as that is an affluent area that has a lot of land. And then, of course, Cave Creek in the Carefree area up there as well. Now, does that mean there aren't other affluent areas with good properties with garage spaces in other parts of the valley? Well, no, not at all. Matter of fact, you can see by the green dots, there are plenty of those spaces kind of scattered throughout the valley right there. And so we'll jump around a little bit and just kind of show you what it looks like in different cities for price points. So if I go to cities and I type in Scottsdale, we'll select that, and we'll start there. So you go from 222 properties with a 4-car garage and an RV garage as well, and you have 25. What are the price points of these? Well, this property here up in the Rio Verde foothills area starts at $722,000. Not too shabby. And then there's another one up there for $950, and the list kind of goes on and on. But it goes up from there. And so all these properties have this type of situation going on with the garage spaces, and they go up to as high as $14 million. And by the way, if you want to spend $14 million for a property in Scottsdale with a lot of garage spaces, this is a phenomenal property. Just click through this one here real quick because, I mean, why not? It's $14 million. It is amazing. And the garage showroom is just spectacular. So we'll get to that here. I'll click through the photos. You can see some of the photos of this property. It's very Southwest style, a little more Tuscan side, but also a little flair of Santa Barbara. Okay. And you can see the garages right there, and the showroom right there of some of the classic cars they have throughout. It's all air conditioned, and you have a bar down here, and so on and so forth. But there are other properties that have big RV garages. Take a look at this property for $6.2 million. You can see in their photos that they have an RV traditional bay right here, and that is very wide and deep, perfect for cars or any other type of entertainment you may want to do in there. Now, if I go back to here and I select Paradise Valley, and we go Paradise Valley, this is the most expensive real estate in all of the Phoenix area. And there are 4 properties that fit that criteria with those garage spaces you're looking for. An entry-level one at 1.75, this is going to probably not last very long. This is going to be a house that's most likely a tear down. The value of that is the land only, but maybe you could keep the garage spaces and tear down the house, your choice. Then you have one here in Doubletree for 5.9, and then it goes to 15, and then 21 million pretty quick. So now if I go back to Fountain Hills, there is one property, and this property is gorgeous. Okay, look at the views in Fountain Hills of this property, all single level, and it does have a smaller RV garage. You can see right there is the bay. But while I'm here, guys, I just got to show you these views. I mean, it's just absolutely stunning from your back patio of the views you have at this property in Fountain Hills. Now, if I go to Cave Creek, there are 13 properties you can see with the same criteria, starting at 1.150. You can see the traditional RV garage right there on the front of that property. And here's a few other ones that have the same thing right here, 1.7, 2 million. And now a lot of this will depend obviously on the size of the house as well as the size of the lot, because land can be fairly expensive, especially if you have some sort of flat usability to it and a view. And we'll go back to one other property and check it out. We'll go over to Peoria, which is on the northwest side of Phoenix, and there are 10 properties that fit that description. Peoria is a very beautiful up-and-coming suburb, and there are 10 properties starting at about $1 million, $944,000, with that RV garage right there you can see, and another one right here, and so on and so forth, going up to as high as $4.5 million. Now, the good thing is you have the option, if you're looking for big garage spaces, to be an HOA or a non-HOA. There are properties that sit on both. Generally speaking, the properties that have bigger lots with a lot more garage spaces do not also have an HOA, which for most people is going to be a good thing because they don't want to have to ask permission for every little thing they want to do on their property. However, the lower price point properties with big garages and RV garages typically will have an HOA because HOAs dominate the landscape, the housing landscape throughout the Phoenix area for the most part. But if you get one of these lots, these urban development lots that are a 3/4 acre or larger, you most likely will not have an HOA. So that is awesome, kind of the best of both worlds, in my humble opinion. I happen to live on a lot like that, and we absolutely love it. Been down here raising a family in Scottsdale on a property like that, and it was the best investment myself personally probably have ever made. Also, I want to say one more thing, that if you don't want to buy a property to actually live in some part of the year or full time, there are actually car garage clubs as well throughout the valley. This is one of the most newer, hip things, trendy things that is happening for especially car collectors. You can actually buy or rent, your choice, it depends on what club you go with, a garage bay that can house several cars or one car or multiple cars, your choice, and you actually get to hang out, and they do social activities, and you all get together and do certain things around the cars, because everyone there has a similar love for automobiles. A lot of the good ones are in the Scottsdale Air Park, like Auto, Toy Barn, Exotic, and of course you have another good one in Fountain Hills called Motor Vault. And that's just a few of the many that are out there to choose from, but a lot of the popular ones are located right in that Scottsdale Air Park area and over in Fountain Hills. Now, where is that Scottsdale Air Park area? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're gonna zoom in real quick. I'll show you that. It is right here in this, see that runway right there? That is the Scottsdale Air Park. So if I take my cursor and pencil and draw, it is right in that area. Then of course the other ones are over in the Fountain Hills area over here. I hope you found this video educational and that you learned a lot about real estate in the Phoenix area, some different general locations, and of course properties with a lot of garage spaces on them as well. As you can see, there's something for everyone when it comes to owning real estate in the Phoenix area and living here full-time or part-time. And if you have any further questions about anything real estate related, please give us a call, 480-660-5974. We would be honored to talk to you. But if you want to see more about what our team is up to, check out our Instagram page at Kelly Cook Homes. We're putting out daily content for your personal education and always your enjoyment. Oh, and don't forget, call me.